Correct. If I was free, 23.
The conversation is one of present times. It is about Jocelyn Reynolds, who murdered Jake Thomas. Two men are discussing it with different views. Another is clips of another show on the worldwide network F is S is E is L, which of course has many meanings. Generally the populace just says, dude, you see Fis is Cecil, and this same statement is more along the lines of, N-word, what's with that G-network fishizzle, in circles of undesirable degenerates, according to this same network. Interestingly enough, the ones who own that G-network own the ABC company as well. They sell, quote, use of the alphabet to retards, queers, hippies, minorities, minorities, majority minorities, seniority minorities, all other minorities, not worth mentioning minorities, and of course us. The only thing not true about that is that they own the alphabet. They don't pay for the alphabet at all. In fact, rumor has it that the alphabet has been found in other shapes, colors, and even sounds. It is very interesting to notice the other ones claim they actually make the rest of them pay for it. Funny, cause someone once said that the rest of them is history once they find a way to eradicate the irrelevant unfortunates. Well anyway, later that day a song on the radio accidentally played. Why? Most important question ever asked was why. One simple word that means so much more than when, where, or how. Well, it's too late. What's that matter now? It's almost over. So child, don't worry. Your world is over soon. Time, yes, time. We'll get to that later, softly said the teacher, after the class was gone. Little Jake had so much potential. Could never understand the diverse differential. Why actions that harmed were so inconsequential. Logic that's incomprehensible to his intellect, none worthy to elect. It was once said, you're born before you're dead. That rewards him now, at least somehow. Enter the queue of destiny. Somehow the world was gone. Please understand it's so simple. Your life is not over when you die. You just begin, perceptions changed. Yes, master, I am free. Yes, master, I am free. I choose to live in slavery. I pay my soul for paper money. And God, I love to abuse my kids. I think the youngest is retarded. I don't care, my welfare. It's just a waste of wasted time. It's just a waste of wasted time. I slaved the fields of consumer horror stores, shopping mall to buy things, then go home and contemplate suicide. Your life's a lie. 4 white men are in a room. Their last names are timeless. Everyone forgets Joe. But Mr. Schmo. Oh, on and on forever he goes. As they look through the window of the padded door condos of Fort Worthless, Kansas, in Forgettable Cottage, a middle child in El Salvador of the unimportant below wondered why. This is a word which was once represented in nearly all unimportant belows. The perfect middle, whatever above's, evil over there's, weirdos over here's, ones I've never heard of's, and secrets kept best for grown-ups, and of course once made regular appearances at every kid's table everywhere. The mere task of asking this question is now classified as an irrational, unknown classification of genus and epic proportions, or currently only asked by guys who love soapboxes, and by one dangerous fool who has never believed. While staring through the window, the doctor said, more frighteningly, "This one is right." With the degree in the ideas of something not entirely understood, whom graduated from the most prestigious paper thought chalk labs, in nothing special fraction of the fractal fraction of a whole, he had no idea what he was talking about. Worse, he didn't even know if he meant what he meant when he said what he meant, and meant what he meant when he meant it. It is in these moments you realize, Jake Thomas, like all of us, are merely droplets in the consciousness of the collective understanding of eternity, and that he, like I, is living in a dream. An infinite, beautiful, magnificent, and incredible dream. Unfortunately, he's been hypnotized for quite some time now. Seems as though the world will never understand when someone comes to them who does not understand the foolish things that all believe themselves to understand, and says, "Why? How? Is it really true? What is truth? What is reality? Life? How long is forever? Who knows? Who knows?" Said a man who failed to father children, who wished he wouldn't bother to pretend to bother while being truly bothered. On he went in conclusion every time like clockwork. Who knows? Who knows how a clock works? The child thought, it's so intensely interesting that no one seems to know what, why, or how of anything anymore. The thought in his head paused, and the idea wandered as he wondered, do they ever? Have they ever? In a depressing gasp of hope, he sighed out, will we ever? Who knows? Nobody knows. That's the way it is, screamed the father. In reply, the child said, if there's anyone who knows, it's God. And there's only one of them if there's one of them. But I do know that the way you think it is doesn't even bear an idea or concept of what it is, or even what it could possibly be. Everyone else believes him crazy, lazy, handsome, selfish, foolish, weird, unusual, funny, or brilliant, well, whatever. This isn't a life story. More of a translation of a transmission of admission of absolute truth from the 11th dimension. In a letter that was lost in translation from the depths of existence, its author wrote, in some time they will all know the truth, that no one knows the truth, nor will anyone ever know the truth, for we can never know in entirety what everything is. We can only go based on present understanding of what we feel is possible, real and relevant. The goal should be to grow intellectually forever. What drives the people to exist in the absence of others? I don't understand, but I know none of us know much of anything compared to the amount that is everything. P.S. There's forever to blabber your gibberish and nonsense and live eternally for eternity. Oh, someday I hope to end this nightmare. Forever yours with less than 3. Space-time. There once was a man who famously asked the most bizarre of questions. He was on trial for something or other, and the audacity in this man was to ask for the definition of it. This infuriated most of the people who heard it. Bah! It? Seriously? This guy's defense is that he doesn't know what it means. God, whatever happened to this country? I guess it's those fundamentalists stealing the sanctity of the freedomist. God, it's as if the world went mad. This guy, he is the one in charge of everything and he doesn't even know what it means. Ugh! Disgusting! Cried out some man whose sole purpose was to buy and sell things back and forth between himself and his friends. That does oversimplify what he does. There is a vast amount more intricacy to the process by which he buys and sells these things. Also, there is a great deal of confusion about what he actually buys, sells, and to whom he actually buys from or sells to. Oftentimes, he doesn't sell much of anything. It is said by some, who are fortunately all dead now, that he actually buys and sells things that other people own, things other people kinda own, things other people may own at some point, and my personal favorite, he sells and buys the stuff that people own, the things they almost kinda own. Now, this may not make sense to the average reader. I hope they still read down there in the third dimension. Well, anyway, as this man watched the story of the gentleman who basically ran everything on the television ask for the explanation of the word "it," a young boy was watching him mutter to himself. This boy's name was Jake. He is said to be the most important thing to ever happen to Mrs. and Mr. Thomas. The boy was at some age in childhood where he was often misunderstood for being, to put it kindly as possible, an unfortunate degenerate waste of genetic material. So, being this annoying exacerbation of whatever we'll call this person, if it even deserves the title, person, Jake looked eagerly and asked the man in a monkey suit, "Sir, what does it mean?" This, of course, infuriated the man in the monkey suit. You see, it was far less about the actual knowing of what it meant. This man was prestigious and most of all important. He did not have time to explain what it meant or even desire to begin to face the simple fact that he had not the slightest idea of what it means or was, or is, or how to begin to figure that out. This man wore the finest designer monkey suit affordable to someone in his particular position on the endless hierarchy of people who buy and sell whatever the hell it is that he sells and buys. He was by far not a nice guy. Now, this was rather irrelevant to the situation. Mr. Jones, we can call him, was so infuriated by this question. Who was this little waste of genetic material, thought Mr. Jones. Child, why don't you go home and read a book for once? Maybe then you would know what it is. Or, better yet, don't. It would just be a waste of wasted time. You look like one of those outsiders who lives in the rural backwoods of the middle of nowhere. Zeus, do us all a favor, just go back in time and prevent your parents from ever mating. Or, maybe just don't talk to me. Do you not see my suit? I am far above your silly little questions. Nor do I have the time to sit here and school you on what it means. What do I look like? The wasted genetic material charity. Jake looked eagerly at the man, hoping something useful would come out of his irate ramble. The man looked at his watch annoyed. Zeus. He rushed off somewhere to do something. Probably to buy and sell things he didn't really own. Maybe, according to those who are fortunately all dead now, the things he buys and sells, he doesn't own them. Almost never. He just push buttons, writes things on napkins, and the people who do own the things he buys and sells do not even know he exists. Almost never do they ever find out their home's mortgage was bought, sold, bought, sold, bought, sold, bought, sold, bought and sold again, and sometimes lost forever. This is of course entirely true. Mr. Jones had an appointment with some fellow who wished to make him an irresistible offer to take that thing you don't want on your books anymore off his hands. Surprisingly, he never really carried books, and if he was, he certainly wouldn't do so with his hands. He wears the finest monkey suits, understand? Jake smiled to himself and sighed. What does it mean? He was approaching the exit of the malfunction junction when an elderly man rose to his feet and said, "Hey you! Little waste of genetic material." Jake, knowing he was likely the only waste of genetic material in the malfunction junction, turned around. He saw a nearly dead old man. This guy was raggedy. He smelled like, well, old people. Mr. Jacobson Smithenheimer, descendant of Mr. Jingleheimer, smiled. Jake took notice of the lack of teeth in this man's mouth. Mr. Jacobson Smithenheimer had breath that smelled of an unwashed homeless man's undergarments. As we all know, the Jingleheimer family was an alcoholic lot who drank far too much whiskey. Every day they drank to the point of not being able to walk. Thus, they came rolling home. Mr. Jacobson Smithenheimer was a recovered former waste of genetic material who is currently employed as a homeless man. He sleeps in garbage, can tell you the best dumpsters to dig through for any food you desire, and he also knows many laundry exhaust hoses for optimal warmth in any weather. Anyway, this old man had no bone and was hungry enough to eat a dog. Everyone found him repulsive. Mr. Jones likely thought he was the malfunction at the malfunction junction. Whatever was Mr. Jones' malfunction that needed repair? I mean, after all, he is a very important man. He wears the finest monkey suits from the most prestigious designers from that one store, the greatest people who sell and buy things that other people own at other people's expense shop. How on earth was this man in need of assistance at the malfunction junction? Moving along, Mr. Jacobson Smithenheimer, descendant of the Jingleheimer family, said, "Little boy, you want to know what it means, huh?" Jake really did, but was this recovered waste of genetic material who was obviously employed as a homeless man have any way of helping him? Funny story, he did. You see, the Jingleheimers were once a prestigious family. So prestigious in fact that they actually designed the finest monkey suits available. They even had family members who sold these fine designer monkey suits. Their friends advertised them to everyone and made sure the whole world knew that Jingleheimer monkey suits were not only a mandatory symbol of your status, but all the people with status are wearing them, and most importantly, the degenerate waste of genetic material can not only not afford them, but even if they could, we would much rather lock them up in a basement full of horrible things forever than sell them the suits at any price. This was a great marketing angle. You see, no one knew what a monkey suit was. No one wanted a monkey suit. But they simply went to other places with pictures of fashionable, hip, and most importantly highly attractive models wearing their monkey suits. They would post the pictures all over the target area. Then, they would have other highly attractive people whom looked very much so important and full of purpose around these same areas. Soon, everyone wanted a monkey suit. Shortly after, everyone needed a monkey suit. Now, it's a requirement. Not legally, of course, but socially. It's like the Jingleheimer slogan used to proclaim, "It's not illegal, but socially it's suicide." One of the classic ones from some period where a lot of blame was being placed on some groups of people, particularly everyone who did not fit the description of those who look good in monkey suits were being persecuted was by Jingleheimer or Go Kamikaze. A more recent one simply said, if you can afford one, you already own one, but you best get a new one if you want to continue to be able to own one. This was genius marketing at its best. You see, no one knew what a monkey suit was. No one had them, felt the urge to own one, but post a few pictures, several well-placed coincidences, and you have yourself an entire planet demanding to buy Jingleheimer. Now, the interesting thing is that it actually has nothing to do with the high amounts of profit from selling $6,000 monkey suits, which cost nearly $6.33 to make. The most important part of the need for $6,000 monkey suits that prior to one Tuesday no one knew existed, cared about, or even thought they would be a good idea if they did know they existed, was that the minorities couldn't afford them. Most of all, even if they all banded together and had enough for one monkey suit at triple the sale price of $6,000, they would not be allowed to purchase them. I guess it has something to do with only the important, hip, attractive people can wear monkey suits. The uninvolved people have to look like people who live in a gutter full of vermin and filth since before they were born. There is a great deal more details regarding the Jingleheimer rise and fall from the top of an endless hierarchy of people whom almost all are going nowhere at all. For now, just know that they kind of locked so many people in their basement that they began going next door to have room for people's storage in their neighbors' basements. Their neighbors at first applauded the arrival of Jingleheimer in their basement. Soon, however, they began to find their friends, family, and co-workers could not afford the Jingleheimer monkey suits and were now and of course forever locked up in their own basement. End of demo. Oh, right, yes, I almost forgot. I am required by law, and because of some human rights violations, my employer requires that I take a break now. Now, if you do not mind, I am going to get some water. My voice is tired. I hope you do not mind, but, honestly, I don't really give a shit what you want, think, or feel. Does anyone have a fucking cigarette? This has been a presentation of J. Thomas and the Book of Destiny. Written by the mental immortal, Ninth Eye. Seriously, I really hate my life. Does anyone have a fucking cigarette?
4 minutes.
I asked the chair to let me know when there's 5 minutes left.
I am shocked at you. You don't understand why people like me and millions of other Americans are upset, annoyed, and looking for answers. Damn, this was somebody who fought for my freedom. This is a cop killer. Where was God? This is a woman who gunned down, along with 2 other accomplices, a woman who is a member of the Black Liberation Army, who they found 16 live rounds in her purse. And this guy thinks she's great. We're not going to make sense.
But honoring someone who thinks they're wrongly convicted of crimes. I think he believes she was convicted unjustly.
open.